Welcome to Sense of Style. I'm Stuart. 8 scents that smell like a night to remember. And with New Year's Eve coming up, I just thought I would do a video on a night to remember. However, for me, New Year's has never been all that memorable. In fact, the only New Year's that I can remember in the last 20 years or so is in 2002 when I rung in the New Year with a bunch of friends watching this movie in the theater. So yeah, it wasn't exactly the greatest New Year's of all time, but I do have a lot of memorable nights, especially over the Christmas holidays. You get to meet people, you get to see people you don't normally see. I think it's usually going to be a fun time. That's what this video is about. It's about fragrances when you're hanging out with other people, when you're having a good time. Not everybody has a night to remember the same way. I do have a couple of seductive fragrances on the list, although most of these are party fragrances, fun for hanging out with other people. Fragrance number 1, this is L'Eau de Issey pour Homme Noir Ambre, and this is one of my favorite fragrances. It's in my top 10 for sure. It is definitely more of a date night fragrance. As the name suggests, it's dark and ambery. They have 3 sweet notes, vanilla, amber, and tonka, but it's really the amber that come through with this. It's even kind of the color of amber. It's a leather fragrance, so you do get a fair amount of leather, and then there's a warm, spicy component with cinnamon, nutmeg, and saffron. It's very fresh. It's very strong. It's one of the, I've said this before, when I put it on, if I haven't worn it for a while, I get chills down my spine. It is that good. Now, it is discontinued. And so probably the only time I will ever say this, there is a bottle of this for $200 US on eBay. And honestly, I can't think of many fragrances, especially designer fragrances, that I recommend buying on eBay. This, it might be the only one that I've ever said. $200 I think is reasonable for this, although bear in mind that Fragrance Buy twice has come back with batches of this. And that's where I got mine the first time. Keep your eye out on Fragrance Buy for this. It is definitely worth it. It's an all-time classic. Fragrance number 2, this is Bentley for Men Intense. And this is definitely a party fragrance, a fun fragrance. Certainly not something you want to be wearing at work because it is incredibly boozy. There is a lot of rum in this. There's also a lot of other sort of questionable notes, strong notes, powerful. So you're going to get the rum, but you're also going to get incense and leather. There is a really nice sweet element. It's benzoin, so it's a resinous sweetness. Benzoin mixed with a little bit of cinnamon. Very, very nice fragrance. It is kind of a love it or hate it. I hated it. No joke. Probably for the first couple of years. I'm definitely used to it now for such an expensive fragrance, so it is super powerful. Fragrance number 3, this is Maison Margiela's Jazz Club, and this is the kind of night to remember that I would really like, going to a jazz club, whether it's 52nd Street in New York City in Manhattan, or whether even if it's somewhere in Toronto. That would be really cool. Right group of people going to see a little bit of jazz. And this fragrance really does capture that really cool environment. You've got a cigar smoke, a very different tobacco note because it's got styrax, which is a balsamic note, mixed with the tobacco. Comes off as pungent and strong. Really does feel like cigars, and then rum. And what I love about the rum in this, there's a lot of boozy fragrances. I have like 24 of them, but this somehow is just the right amount of booze. It's not too much, it's not too heavy, it's not too little, you notice it. This one just keeps getting better and better. I just find it more and more wearable the more that I own it. I didn't like that tobacco note at the beginning. I'm totally used to it now. This, I love it. Fragrance number 4 is a fragrance that really does not fit into the line that it's made for, nor really the house. It's Mandorlo di Sicilia by Acqua de Parma, and I tried a dozen fragrances back to back to back over the summer for Acqua de Parma, and what I got was, it's a very refined house, but it's a very fresh house, especially the Mediterranean line. But this does not belong in the Mediterranean line at all. There's nothing fresh about this fragrance. Sure, they grow almonds, near the Mediterranean in Italy, but This thing is really sweet. This one is more of a seductive fragrance. I don't think they should have put it in another bottle. It is not refined either. It's high quality, but I don't find it super refined in the way that a lot of other Acqua di Parmas are. But it is my favorite. And I know this because I tested them all and I absolutely love it. It is vanilla. So there you go, right there. Vanilla with a lot of almond. Then you've got orange and peach for a fruity quality. It's just warm and inviting and fun. There's even a little bit of a licoricey vibe. You get some anise in here. Really good performance, really warm, really fun fragrance. And when I think of Acqua di Parma, that is not what comes to mind normally, but this one is fun. Fragrance number 5 is YSL La Nuit de L'Homme Eau de Parfum, and I really do take issue with the fragrance community and with Fragrantica in the characterization of this fragrance. The rating has bothered me since day one. The rating for this fragrance at the moment is about 4.06, so in the low. There is no way this should be that low. This should have a much higher profile in the fragrance community. The more confident that I get about my fragrance opinions, the more confident I am that everybody else needs to wake up to this. This should be bare minimum 4.25. It is a super high quality fragrance that is exactly what I would do to La Nuit de L'Homme to make it more youthful and more fun. I think they pulled this one off. It doesn't get a lot of respect. I think people go in there expecting La Nuit de L'Homme or some version of it. They get something sweeter and more fun and more interesting, in my opinion. And because they're not getting what they expect, they vote it down. Also, in terms of the accords, I don't know who wrote the accords for this. They have this listed as a warm, spicy, aromatic. I'm sorry, but I do not pick up any aromatic notes. Well, a faint hint of the lavender and sage aromatic, but to have that accord in the top two is ridiculous. I will give the Fragrantica voters credit on this one. When it comes to voting, the notes that they pick up the most, they pick up the same ones that I do, which is the cardamom, the leather, and the tonka. It's a very sweet, very, very nice YSL, high-quality fragrance, great performance, more youthful than La Nuit de L'Homme, but still a really high-quality fragrance, a lot of fun. Fragrance number 6, this is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male, and there really had to be a Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrance on a list of night out fragrances, especially when you're talking New Year's, you're talking fun, party kind of thing. I just think this is an excellent house, more youthful and it's more fun, and even though this is the original, it was certainly fit into that category. A lot of vanilla and cinnamon too. It's got a really nice, warm, spicy component. Yes, there are aromatic notes. You're going to get the lavender and the mint. So it is a little bit of another time, but there's so much sweetness. There's so much cinnamon in this. And my bottle, I don't know about what my bottle's 5 years old. And I'm not joking, 10 to 12 hours, no problem. I've gotten 12 hours on a couple of occasions. When I first got it, I tested it because it was really strong. It was stronger than my other fragrances. I'm not sure how much they've watered down, like the bottles in the last 5 years or so, but this one's really strong and just a great. I've had videos before on night out fragrances and party fragrances, and this has been on it, and it deserves to be. Something a little bit different. This is fragrance number 7. This is Bond number 9's Coney Island. Now, Coney Island is an amusement park area. It was the first amusement park really on Earth, I believe, late 1800s, early 1900s, and it's in New York City. And even though this is a party fragrance, a fun fragrance, this is not New York City at all. This is more like Mexico City. This is a lime and tequila fragrance. So yes, the name is not really right, but the environment, the funness of it is. It's not a fragrance that I liked at the beginning. It's quite boozy. You do get a genuine tequila feel. But over time, I kind of figured this out. It's a citrus aromatic that's got lime and tequila. It's got guava, which is a tropical fruit, and melon. So definitely comes off as fruity and fun. It is sharp, though. That tequila is quite strong, but it is a fun fragrance. And I just put it on yesterday when I was thinking of doing it for the video, and I thought, damn, that is better than I remember. I really do enjoy it. I do think it's fun. Performance is fine, although for a niche house, not spectacular. It's about 4 or 5 hours, but you can notice that the projection is good. And finally, we have Paloma Picasso's Minotaure. Paloma Picasso is actually Pablo Picasso's daughter, believe it or not. And she had a jewelry line, and then she had a bunch of fragrances, and this was the only one released in her male line. And I really adore this fragrance. This is the sort of, what they do nowadays is they water down old school fragrances. This came out right around the same time as Le Male, so mid-90s. And even though it is a vanilla aromatic like Le Male, I like this one more. But as I said, this is a watered down bottle, so you're not going to get the depth that I would like. If I could get an original bottle of Minotaure, that would be amazing. What I like about the aromatic notes, there are 4 of them in this, is that they take the vanilla and there's a lot of fruit. It's not just vanilla. It's got vanilla, tonka, and amber, so a lot of sweetness. And they've got fruit with it, but the 4 aromatic notes give it a sour feel. So you get the sweet and the sour. I really enjoy it. But it is quite a sweet fragrance. Don't look at the date in 1996 or 1995 and think, oh, it's an old school. No. This one is sweet. It's fun. It's good. But it is kind of cheap. The performance is not bad. I don't like the old school kind of crappy looking atomizer, but boy, do I love the scent. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys have a good holidays. You know, it can be difficult with family and stuff, but sometimes it can be a lot of fun. So anyway, these are some good ones to wear over the holidays. I thought, yeah, why not? Let's have some fun. Thanks for watching.